Hi, my name is Julie Malarkey. I am your child's fourth grade reading, English, spelling, and handwriting teacher. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully, it will be helpful for you to understand what we'll be doing in fourth grade this year. We are also sending home a packet in the Wednesday envelope so that you can get more detailed information and also to be able to refer back to it throughout the school year. Just a little bit about me. I have taught at St. James for 21 years. I taught second grade for 9 years, and the last 12 years I've taught fourth grade. I have two kids. Emily, she's in fourth grade with me this year, so she's one of my students. And then Will is in eighth grade. I'm going to start talking about reading first. I always like to start the school year talking to the children about being a reading detective and explaining to them that they all know how to read. But now we're kind of at a turning point where they are learning to read for a deeper understanding of what they're reading and to also strengthen their vocabulary. So, as a reading detective, the students learn to ask questions as they're reading. They need to learn strategies to look and use context clues to figure out the meanings of words that they don't know. Also, they will be looking for text evidence as they read and also learning to cite that text evidence. And lastly, we talk about making connections, text connections. So either text to text, text to self, and text to world as we are reading stories and novels throughout the year. So they're really reading for that deeper understanding. I want to go through the textbooks that we use real quick so you know what each of these are used for. First, we have the Wonders hardback textbook. This is the primary source for stories that we will be reading. We will also be reading novels throughout the year. This reader is online, and there will be something coming home telling you how to access the reader online, which is really nice because that way, if your child forgets his or her reader at school, it's there for him or her. Also, if your child prefers not to take home the book because of the weight of the book, he or she can use the book online. Finally, it's very nice because it offers a feature online where the student can listen and follow along to the reading, and that can be one way to read the story. So I wouldn't say it should be the only way. They also should be reading it aloud and silently. So stories should be read much more than just once. So they can be listened to once, read aloud once, and read silently before they are assessed on the story. We will also be reading the stories in class. This is another book that we use. It's called the Reading Writing Companion. Truly, all it is the reading workbook that goes with the reading series. We do use this. We don't do every page in it. I just pick and choose which ones are beneficial. Also, we have the vocabulary workshop book. This is brand new for fourth graders. We use this at St. James for grades 4 to 8. Each year it's a different level, obviously, and a different color. We take each unit slowly in fourth grade because it is new. What I do is I usually teach 3 words a day. Each unit consists of 12, so it's not too overwhelming at once. And then after we go through all 12 words, it usually obviously takes about 4 days. Then for the next week, we will review and then have a test on those 12 words. There's also a resource on Google Classroom. If you go to classwork and then after you go to classwork, there will be something in the left-hand margin that says topic. And one of the topics is the vocabulary workshop book. It's actually a supplement for this, so it's not the exact book, but it does have the words. It has practice quizzes and worksheets. It also has games the kids can play and a way to make flashcards. So it's a very great resource. Again, Google Classroom, under their reading class, they'll go to classwork and then topics in the left hand margin. So these vocabulary words in this book are different from the story vocabulary words that are in the reader. So 2 different sets of vocabulary. All right. Next, when we have a test on a story from the reader, it's important that the students use their reading notebook that's in their accordion to study, because in that reading notebook, we will have different skills that go with that story that's going to be tested, and also vocabulary. So that is a very good resource, the reading notebook, to use before a test. Also, it's important that they are reading the assigned stories so that they are prepared uh, and they can comprehend what they've read. Next, we're going to talk about accelerated reader. Okay, so first of all, the children already took the STAR test, which is a computerized test, and it gives them the book level that's appropriate for them to read based on the scores from their test. Also, it gives them the appropriate amount of points. Now, I can adjust those points as needed. So by Thursday, I will be sending home a paper with your child's book level and range that they should be reading in, and the number of points they need to earn by the end of the trimester. And you will need to sign that paper so that I know you know what's going on. And then that child will keep their paper in their accordion so that if they forget, it's there for them. Thursday, we will also be going to the library, so that is a good chance for them to get a book to be reading if they're not already reading a book. As well as the library, I have books in my classroom that they are welcome to check out, take home, read them. There's no due date. All I ask is that they eventually return those books. So they should have the ability to find a book either from the school library or my classroom library. Let's see. Also on Google Classroom in the reading section, if you go to classwork and you go to topics on the left-hand margin, you will see AR. Now, that is not for taking AR tests. We take AR tests at school, but it is for a website called AR Book Finder. And if you go to that website, you or your child can type in any title of books that they find and they want to read, and it will tell you if it's an AR test. So if it pops up, you know it's an AR test. If it doesn't, then it most likely is not. A lot of times, some new release books, they haven't made a test yet for. Um, anyway, if you type in the title, it will give you that book's book level and also the amount of points it is worth. And then your child can determine if that book is appropriate for them. So that's a really good resource to use. I encourage you to read all about AR, Accelerated Reader, in the packet that will be sent home on Wednesday in the homeschool envelope, because there are a lot of details. And if you have any questions, please let me know. We are starting next week with a novel. We're going to do that before we start the reader. It's called Because of Winn-Dixie, and the kids absolutely love it. And that's why I like to read it at the beginning of the year, because it gets them very excited about reading and engaged. It's a book that many kids can relate to, and it is just full of skills that I pull out of the book. So it's a good overview of what we'll be learning all year, and I can introduce those skills and then build on them throughout the year. It also gives me a very good picture of what kind of reader your child is, what his or her ability is. So it's a good starting point for all of us. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about English just for a couple of minutes. So English, the main book is the grammar workshop book, and obviously this is a grammar book, and we won't necessarily go in order in this book. There is a lot in this book, so we will be skipping around. When there is a test, I will definitely give them at least a week's notice, and they can use this book to study. Also, on Google Classroom on the English page, I have posted a lot of different grammar games that the kids can play at home or in free time or for review. And where you find those is, again, if you go to classwork and then you look in the left-hand margin, you will see all kinds of games for grammar skills. You can also find those in the stream, but it's much easier to go to classwork, the left-hand margin, and they're under topics. So that's easier to do. Also under the topics is a supplement for this book as well that the students can get on the website and play games, practice their skills, take practice quizzes. It's very helpful. So that link is under the topics as well. So check that out. It's really a good resource. In addition to the grammar workshop, I do what's called a spiral review, and this is in their language review clip folder that should be in their accordion. And so I put all of the language reviews in there for the entire year so that they are prepared just in case we would end up at home or something. So each day of the week, except for Friday, they complete one row of the language review, and then we go over it together. I tell them this is practice. This is not taken as a grade. I want them to correct their mistakes. We do not do it on Fridays. Sometimes we will have a quiz at the end of the week, and I will tell them what to review, and that's what they should be doing. They should be reviewing what's in the folder that we have done. So that's another supplement to the grammar workshop. And like I said, it's a spiral review, so the same skills come back around. Okay. Also, we do have journal entries that the students need to do. I will be sending home a monthly calendar, and that will start next week. It will be glued in their composition notebook that says journal on it. And each week, they will need to choose one topic on the calendar from the appropriate week, and they will need to write on that topic. They'll need to put that date of whatever topic they picked at the top of their notebook. And then the goal is to try to have them at least write on one side of the paper. I'm not saying that they have to. Some kids write a lot more than that, and that's fine. As long as they're giving it their best, putting their best effort into it, and have a beginning, middle, and end. This is not a final copy. The journal entries are not. So, it's not going to be perfect, and that is absolutely fine. That is fine. It's, just getting them to practice writing, get their thoughts down, learn to be creative. They will have to do something that's called a rainbow edit after they write their journal entry. And that will also, the directions for that will also be in the journal, which is the composition notebook that says journal on it. The journal typically needs to be written in cursive, the journal entry. However, if your child really struggles with cursive and it is just taking forever, please email me and let me know that, and we can make adjustments. They can either print it or they could type it. If your child can do cursive, I would like him or her to do that. But if there is a big problem and that is taking the majority of the time, that is not the goal, to do handwriting. It is to write, to do journaling. Okay, so keep in communication with me about that if it is a problem. Okay. Next, just so you know, we will be going through the writing process for some writing projects that are separate from the journaling. Okay, and that's when, we will go from pre-writing all the way to a final draft. Whenever the children are writing, though, they should be focusing on the 6 traits of writing, and that's what, as a school, we teach. And that is word choice, organization, sentence fluency, conventions, and voice. Okay, and so they need to always be using those, and thinking about them, and focusing on them. The 3 types of writing that we want to really work on this year is narrative, informative, and persuasive. A lot of the final copies will be typed in Google Classroom. Hopefully we get to the point where we can also type the first drafts and edits on Google Classroom, but we'll see. It is a little bit of a process, and so I need to have the time to teach them that. So that might come in, a little bit later in the year. Okay, next is spelling, Spelling is through Spelling City. They take a pretest on Monday on Spelling City. They highlight the words they missed. If they get every word correct, then I do not make them take the test on Friday. However, if they do, even if they just miss one, they still need to take the test on Friday, and that will be on the computer. The spelling lists are posted in Google Classroom. They are divided into 3 spelling groups based on their reading level. So we have the circles, squares, and triangles. Your child knows which group he or she is in, and so that is the spelling list that they need to study. And they can find that on Google Classroom. Also, I print out a copy for them. They can also practice their words through Spelling City by playing games. Finally, if we'll talk about handwriting for just a minute, handwriting is a grade on the report card in 4th grade. It's O, S, or N, or S plus. It's important that the students practice cursive. We do not do it every single day. We usually do it a couple times a week. I have given them their own cursive alphabet to keep in their accordion in case they do need help with the letters and remembering how to make them. This is truly the last year we practice cursive in an actual class setting. Next year, they'll just be expected to use it. So I'm not teaching the letters because they've already been taught them, but we are practicing. Since the spelling test is not written this year, they will be having a handwriting assignment each week of writing their spelling words in cursive. So that will take care of some of the practice of cursive handwriting. Well, I thank you for joining me today or tonight, whenever you were free to watch this. Feel free to also, refer back to it if you have a question, and also to email me if you ever have any questions or comments. I'm really a big advocate of communication. So if you just keep in communication with me, whether it's a question or a thought, comment, that is what is going to help this year be a successful one for your child. Please let me know if anything is going on in your child's life that could affect his or her learning, and we can always make adjustments. So thank you for being my partner in teaching your child, and I'm excited to get to know each of them and to get to know each of you better and to teach them as much as possible this year to make them a successful learner. Thank you again, and I hope to see all of you soon. Bye-bye.